Alright, I'm back for part two. I thought I'd answer a few questions while my forge was heating up, so I had somebody ask me what this side of the hammer does, because they seem to be hitting the blade side of the tomahawk a lot like that. And so what this does is, instead of spreading metal in every direction kind of evenly like this side does, the peen side of the hammer spreads metal in two directions. So when I'm hitting with this side, it spreads the metal like this, really, and it doesn't spread it out this way. And so when I'm hitting the tomahawk head with the peen side, I'm spreading the axe blade out this way instead of long ways, and it just gives me a wider blade portion. I kind of muddied my words up there, but I hope you guys understood that. So yeah, that's what I'm doing with the cross peen side of the hammer. Alright, so back to shaping the blade. So while I'm spreading the blade this direction, I'm also making sure to hammer back in this area to give it a beard. This part we call the beard of the axe, and we want it to kind of swoop up this way. So as I'm drawing this out, I'm also bringing this back up and pushing it forward, so I'll have a swoop in the bottom. You'll see what I mean later on. Okay, it's pretty ugly right now, but it's slowly starting to take shape. See, I got that swoop in there. I'll grind that out a little bit more. And it's starting to get thinner, though it's bobbly right now. If you can see that, I don't know if you can. So, starting to get the beard developed, starting to get thinner, so it's better for a blade. It is quite ugly right now, but it'll pretty up over time. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I haven't seen anybody do it before, but you'll see what I mean when I actually get to doing it. But I take the cross peen of one hammer and I hold it up, so I put this upside down on the anvil, and I stick it right there against it, because you can notice there's a swoop there. And what I do is I hammer on the hammer face, and that pushes the peen side into the tomahawk, and that creates a dip here, and it also straightens this out a little bit. And I'm going to do that on both sides because it creates a little dip there, and I kind of like how it looks. And if you didn't understand what I just said, you'll about to see me do it. So that's the next thing I'm doing. So you see that's bringing that straight, and it's curving that a little bit more, and it's also putting a notch in that spot there. It's still ugly, but again, I'm gonna grind the heck out of this, so it'll look prettier when I'm done. So can you see how that's kind of shaped it a little bit more this way instead of having the blade too, I don't know what the word is, too far this direction. It's brought the blade back down and straight, kind of giving it a swoop, and also giving it the notches. I'm not speaking English, am I? Oh well. It's helping shape it. Okay, so as I said earlier, after shaping the blade and the hammer a little bit, it's really made the eye kind of ugly. See how it's really wide up here? It's really shrunken down here. So I'm going to have to re-drift it and give it the eye a better shape again, and then make sure everything's straight, and then I can go on to grinding. So I'm going to straighten the blade out now and make sure it would line up with the handle. So I will slide it onto my drift here. Make sure it's on there, look down it. So it's quite crooked right now, and I'm just going to work on it until it looks like it lined up with the tomahawk handle. That's why I wear a glove. closer. Pretty straight now. A little bit of a curve left to fix. Alright, so now I'm going to let it cool. This is my final shape from initial forging. I'm going to let it cool down, and I'm going to grind it afterward. So yeah, I'll show you after I'm finished grinding it what that looks like. I might show you some of my grinding process, I don't know. It's not that special, it's just me taking off a lot of material with sander, so. Yep, that's the final forged shape. Pretty ugly, I know. But it'll be prettier once I'm done with it. Okay, so now I'm in my family's really messy garage, so please don't mind the mess. I'm going to show you my grinding of the tomahawk. Just a few things I need to mention. Well, first of all, I had my mom grab my jacket for me because it's cold and the forge isn't going anymore. And she told me that if she did it, I'd have to make her famous, which I'm not famous, but I told her I'd mention her in my video. So I have the greatest mom in the world. She got me my jacket. Thank you, Mother. But a few things I want to say. When I'm grinding, I always have safety glasses on. I know you haven't seen me wear them much while I'm forging. That's a stupid thing on my part. You should always wear safety glasses. Little bits of hot metal go flying. And also, when I grind, I wear a respirator. It's not good to inhale any kind of metal dust. Any kind of dust in general is really not that great for your lungs. And so I got a respirator. This is fairly new for me. I used to wear just masks, but I still inhaled a lot of metal shavings and dust, and I had black snot, and it's just not good for you. And so I highly recommend if you ever grind metal, wear a mask, wear goggles, wear gloves, just be safe. And again, I have the greatest mom in the world. Thank you for grabbing my jacket, Mom.
I'll also have to see if I can find any really good angles for you to see this, because I don't have a good place to set up my iPad, which is what I'm filming with, an iPad, not a camera. So, so I will have to see if I can get you any good angles in general. Before, and I'll show you after. I need electricity. Okay, let's try this again with power.
Okay, so just got done grinding it to shape, and this is the shape I have so far. I think it's pretty nice shape for what I wanted, tomahawk-wise. I cut off a lot of weight compared to what it used to look like. Remember that the material was all the way down to here, and then this I have brought down just a little bit. So I am going to turn on the forge and throw this in and get it prepared for a heat treat. I'll let you guys watch that too. So I'll be right back. Well, it'll be like no time for you. Okay, so I've got the forge up to heat. I'm going to put my maker's mark into it really fast, and then I'm going to dunk it in the heat treat, and I'll film all that. A lot of people probably wonder, how do I know it's hot enough to get it heat treated and how hard it will be after I heat treat it. I get it up to about an bright orange temperature. I let it sit for about a minute, and then I dunk this, since it's 4140 steel, which is a alloy steel. I dip it into half and half SAE 10W40 oil, and then that's mixed with half transmission fluid, and that gets it around a 60 on a Rockwell hardness scale. And then I will throw it in an oven and bake it at 400 degrees for about 2 hours, and that'll get it around 55 Rockwell hardness, which is a nice tough hardness for a tomahawk, and has no real danger of shattering at that hardness. I'll show you guys the heat treat process now. I'll stop talking. Smells great. Make sure to move it around a bit so it doesn't get bubbles built up on it. That way it kind of cools evenly, cools faster the more I move it. Mix it in with the liquid. Still very hot, so. But it should be hard. Okay, this will be it for part 2. I'll come out with another one that shows the finished tomahawk and me putting a handle in it, so this will be 3 parts. I lied about the initial 2 parts. Big deal. And for those of you wondering, how do I know how hard my tomahawks get, I have this handy dandy little Japanese file set, and each one of these files is a certain hardness steel. So this top one is Rockwell hardness of 40, while this bottom one is 65, and these are everything in between. And so what I do is I remove some of the scale off the steel, and then I slide one of these against it, and if this scratches it, that means if this scratches it, that means the file is harder than the steel. But if it doesn't scratch the steel, that means the steel is harder than the file. And so that's kind of how I get a ballpark of how hard my tomahawks are. So I don't know that it's exactly 55 when I get it to its final hardness, but it's somewhere near there. It's in between 55 and 60, typically. At least that's what the hardness testers say. So be tuned for a part 3 where I'll show the finished tomahawk. I did do all the forging in 2 parts at least, so I guess I wasn't lying. I forged the tomahawk in 2 parts. I'll finish the tomahawk in the 3rd part. That works.